State of the Union that Obama gave last night won't work, and let me explain why. Obama is consciously, in my view, copying the playbook that I helped develop with President Clinton for State of the Union speeches. When Clinton gave his speeches in 95 and 96 and 97, with which I was involved, he was doing it against a backdrop of a Republican-controlled Congress, both houses, just as Obama now faces a Republican-controlled House. And he realized, as Clinton did, that he couldn't get major legislation passed. So he used a mix of executive orders and symbolic gestures and speaking points to try to achieve an agenda of smaller, bite-sized achievements. So President Clinton had drug-free schools, school uniforms, curfews, standardized tests for students, anti-tobacco stuff, a whole range of things like that. And Obama is trying to follow that playbook by things like an executive order raising the minimum wage, but only for federal contractors, and the various other executive order strategies in technology zones and stuff like that. But the reason Clinton's approach was successful is because it was against a backdrop in 95 and 96 and 97 of a rapidly improving economy with very significant job growth and no significant negative crises to hobble the presidency. The Monica scandal wasn't until 98, the next year. But Obama is doing this against the backdrop of a crashing healthcare system, and his signature major piece of legislation is failing in front of all of our eyes. In fact, it was significant that in this speech, he didn't get to it until 45 minutes into the speech. And when he did, it was almost apologetic. I don't expect my Republican friends to change their opinion on this, but it's still a good law and blah, blah, blah. As opposed to what he usually used to do, which is to feature it front and center. Now he was attempting to make education, job training his issue, and income inequality, but he's fairly late to those parties. So the problem is that this backdrop of a failing healthcare law and an economy that's going no place at all, with no economic recovery taking place, is a backdrop that will not tolerate bite-sized achievements as being the key to his success. The Americans will insist on very significant achievements, and particularly a fix in the healthcare system. You have all these people who lost their health insurance last year. For example, in California, 900,000 people lost it, and only 300,000 of them have signed back up. So we're at 600,000 people who used to be happily insured and now can't get policies. And that trend is continuing throughout the United States. So every time he comes up with this stuff, people in the back of their mind are saying, but what about health care? And when he begins to give us this information about how great the economy is going, we all know that that's not true. We believe the evidence of our own eyes, not what he's telling us, particularly after his credibility was so damaged by the blatant lie, biggest of his administration, and it has some competition, where he said that if you like your health care plan, you can keep it, whereas obviously you can't. So I don't believe that that speech is going to be very effective or work. In a certain sense, it was the speech of a candidate, not the speech of a president. It was expressing hopes and issues and talking about different ideas and some proposals, but not citing the record, not really talking, except in broad terms, about the progress that he allegedly has made. Usually in a 6th-year State of the Union speech, the past weighs more heavily than the future because you have a record of accomplishment. And then the other point is that the real executive actions he's planning to take, he didn't talk about. He's probably going to lift the sanctions on Iran without consulting Congress, simply by not enforcing them. He's going to virtually try to obliterate coal, even clean coal, as a source of energy in the United States by executive order. He's going to do a whole range of things by orders, which will undermine what Congress has voted and what the American people want. So I don't think that speech is going to work. I found it boring, long, tedious, but above all, ineffective. Thanks for watching.